What's up guys, Barry Gaming here, back with some more AFK Journey, and today we're going to be talking about these AFK stages, these AFK battles, because, well, man, oh man, they are just super important when trying to progress your account because they give you additional essence, they give you, well, probably most importantly at this point, these talent orbs to get you these faction talent trees built up. You get invite letters and you get diamonds plus a bunch of other things which are very important, including the overall progression of your account, including season XP, gold, and resonance levels and stuff like that. So these are really important things to do, and we're gonna go over the top 5 heroes that you just absolutely need for most AFK stages. It's all about delaying the enemy, controlling them, and letting your team do what they have to do. And today we're gonna be going over teams that are not gonna have any celestial or hypogen heroes because, well, depending on which ones you pick, especially for free to play, you're probably not going to have most of these heroes built up, but these are going to be alternatives, heroes that you can use pretty much on any account that you probably already have. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let's jump into the top 5 heroes for AFK progression. So coming in at number 1, I don't think this is going to really surprise anybody in my opinion here. Ardan has been such a meta-defining hero, mainly because of the control he provides and the combos he does. His ultimate allows him to just group up enemies at the beginning of battle when you do have him at Mythic Plus. So number 1, if you don't have Ardan at Mythic Plus, might not be as useful. Even getting him to plus 10 is really big because it increases the time that his ultimate is going to immobilize the enemies very bigly. He does have a lot of damage too, but you guys can see right here, I'll just show you guys by himself, that control right there and that immobilize is very big to control the battlefield a ton. Besides that, he also provides a decent amount of damage in these battles too. His season ability doesn't do that much. It does give him like a buff if he drops below a certain amount of HP, which might help him keep him alive. We'll have to see. But overall, he is number 1, the most important piece. And this is going to kind of just bleed right into number 2. Now, if we're talking about the best of the best tanks, it's typically going to be Freyasto. However, we're not going over any celestial hypogen heroes. We're going over heroes that you can more easily build. And who else is easier to build? Well, he's still not in the Dream Store, which really annoys me. But Olmus is that man. And again, this is another one where you kind of need him at Mythic Plus, because when he's at Mythic Plus, he's going to extend his roots and trap vulnerable enemies on the battlefield. Whenever an enemy is knocked down, knocked into the air, or affected by a displacement skill, well, guess who does that? Ardan does that all day with his ultimate and the one at the beginning of the battle. 2 very important things here. He's going to bind the target, increasing the knockdown duration by an additional 2 seconds. So that is really big because that's going to control them for about 6 to 8 seconds of the battle. Granted, it can only happen once every 10 seconds, but if you're adding 2 seconds to an already like 6-second immobilized movement type ability, that can be absolutely huge for controlling the battlefield. You might actually see just a giant ball of enemies in the back majority of the time. And you guys can see right here at the beginning of this battle, the ultimate goes off and then they are all just stuck in a pile. They get knocked down. They're sitting there. You can see how, look how much time. We're already 10 seconds into battle and the enemy has barely dealt damage to the Olmus, which leads into the second reason why Olmus is just so stinking good. And that's because he essentially can't get one shot. And the reason why he can't get one shot is one really cool ability. I thought when it first came out, it was potentially going to happen. I really thought it was. But where is it at? Is it his? No, I guess that's not really there. It's somewhere in one of his abilities here. I actually forget which one it actually is. It must be this one here. He's gonna, of course, shield himself. If he does, then teleport to the back. Oh wait, no, it's part of his ultimate. Yeah, his passive part of his ultimate. When his HP drops below 30% for the first time, he will retreat to the back line and take root, recovering a certain amount of HP. And then he's also going to be unaffected while he is rooted, immune to those crowd control effects. What's really cool is his damage is important, but he's going to generate a ton of extra energy, meaning he gets to cast his ultimate that affects the enemies a lot more often. Beyond that, what actually ends up happening is he kind of turns into a support hero, because you'll see here after we get all this combination going on down here, once he finally takes that damage right here and teleports to the back, He's going to now put his bubble shield on the frontmost target, which is in a lot of situations Ardan, because Ardan likes to run in. Now you can see here he will get ultimates faster. He generates energy. He no longer heals himself. But this combo right here is why they are just number 1 and number 2 on any team, even for pay to win teams. Now number 3 is kind of a toss up because it kind of depends on what type of enemies you have. Number 3 is kind of going to be a tie between Odie and one of my favorite heroes probably ever, especially on a new account. I don't have a ton of investment on this account here, but Ardan plays a really big role. And what Ardan also is going to enable is the faction bonus, and he's also going to provide you with the faction talent buff when you have them on the team together. These heroes are very, very strong. They are very, very good together. And what he's also going to do is when you do get him again at Mythic Plus, I know a lot of these heroes require Mythic Plus, but if you've been playing for quite a while, you should have access to these. Getting him up to at least plus level 2 is going to let you Entangling Vines all enemies under the Dark Cloud, aka his ultimate skill here. So actually, let's go to Resonating Spell. Let's see what 3 heroes can do against this enemy team. So first off, we get that combination where we're grouping them up. You can see here Ardan is stealing energy from the enemy team, and hopefully he gets an ultimate off, which then lets us control the enemy team. You see right here, when they're under the cloud, they get Entangling Rooted. Not all of them got it, sadly. But that's going to extend the combo that we are going for here. And this is why Wilders are just so wildly powerful when doing this type of combo. Now, a hero that I'm not necessarily ranking on this list, but also fits very well is going to be Damien. I think Damien, especially in a Wilder team, can do very well because his Chariot does provide support. I'm throwing him in right now so we can kind of see the combo of Olmus, Aaron, and Ardan as it goes on, because you see right here, we're doing all the CC, we're getting the combos, we're keeping the heals on Olmus, and then we get an Ardan ultimate right here, Entangling Roots all of them, and then hopefully, I mean, the goal here, the Chariot can take some hits, then Aaron can take some hits. The goal here is to continue chaining these 3 CCs together. You can see right here, almost gets another ultimate to knock them down. Hopefully, if you had a full team, then you'd get another Aaron ultimate, which would then knock them down longer. And you can see how long this battle's going on with just a couple heroes. And that is the reason why Ardan can be so good, because so many times AoE damage is going to be clutch. His ultimate skill is just so stinking powerful, and why I'm going to put him at kind of number 3. What you can also consider putting in this team is Odie as well. If you're going up against enemies like, I mean, heck, if you have an enemy Brutus, an enemy Igor, those really annoying heroes that just continuously live, you can go with an Odie, but again, once again, Mythic Plus is going to be what you need to do for that execution effect. A lot of times, if the enemies are not dying fast enough to the AoE damage, taking out Ardan, throwing Odie in can be very, very solid. Now, last and certainly not least are going to be those support heroes. In this situation, I'm going to continue to run the Ardan squad that we have right here, this team right here, but there's a couple good options for supporters. One of them is going to be Koko, and I think we all know why Koko is so good. Even if you don't have her at Mythic Plus, just the damage reduction she provides for her team is insane. Very good, 55%. And then if you do have her at Mythic Plus, when that damage reduction ends, they're all going to get a giant shield based on the damage they've dealt to the enemies on the battlefield. Very, very solid. The only other one, like I said, I'd put as a tie would most likely be Damien, just because of the amount of AoE healing he provides, some additional haste buffs and things like that. So those are heroes you could definitely throw into this team, kind of on top of each other. Very, very solid heroes. In this situation, I'm going to show you guys more of a supporty Wilder type team. And let's see how this goes, because remember too, Koko does provide healing as well. It's more of a single target heal, which can end up being very good, because you see here that heal right there also gives haste. It keeps the Almost alive a little bit longer, even if he does retreat. That should buy time for other heroes to get their ultimates off. You can see now Koko getting her ultimate off. Positioning on this one's a little tight. We need to change where the heroes are located. But again, having the Damien now come in doing a bunch of AoE healing while we still have that damage reduction. Getting more knockdown effects. Ardan can attack on the entire battlefield, which ends up being really good. Sadly, Koko went down because of placement. Placement of these heroes is very important. Ardan didn't get another ultimate off here, but you can see how chaining these abilities together with the correct amount of CC can be good. And you can see right here, we're at 600 million attack going up against 1.2 billion. So we're doubling the amount that we're going up against here. In reality, I probably want to maybe run something more like this. Let's see how this team does. Maybe going for the faster Koko ultimate could be the better option here. Oh, why, Ardan? Why did you have to run up the middle? Again, sometimes the battlefield like locations can be the bane to your existence here, because now Ardan just threw himself in the... Oh my goodness. And stuff like this on certain battlefields can be a huge negative. In reality, I need to put him like over in the corner, it seems like. And maybe we need to do something a little bit more like this, and maybe just go with the Tide Call spell on this one. Positioning will most definitely matter. Again, this choke point is so important. We need Aaron to run in there, but the two ranged heroes run in so that they can do their basic attacks, which is not what we need because we're not keeping the ultimates up. So you can see how there are some frustrations even with the best of teams, depending on what enemies you're actually going up against and how the battlefield is laid out. Now, technically, this team could still get the victory right here with what we have, especially running something like the Tide Call spell. Nice big AoE, can be very, very good. We even have AoE damage coming from our Damien, which is pretty cool. But as long as we can continue to lock down the enemy team and have buffs from Koko, heck, even some other heroes out there can do a good job too, you can get some pretty big victories. So let me know what you guys think. That is the core, I feel like, of what most teams are running right now. Again, a lot of times you can substitute out, throw like an Odeon instead if you really want to try to focus on something just a little bit different here. And yeah, the fact that our Koko just keeps managing to run up right in the way, I think honestly what we have to do with our Koko, I think we need to trap her in. Sometimes manipulating the battlefield, even with the best of teams, is important. So now Koko can't run up. Of course, Odie does. And yeah, sometimes you just come across some of the worst battlefields possible and you have to be flexible. But that is the top 5. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you use outside of this team right here that's gotten you crazy progression? Again, we're hitting double of our power, which is pretty awesome. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'll see you guys next time.